Hello, everybody. Welcome to Therapy. Thursday Therapy, where we come together and we mourn. We mourn the tragic loss of Manchester United Football Club. Together, it's negativity surrounding it. Essentially, we come together in a depressed state. No, I'm joking, guys. Seriously. Welcome, guys, to the channel. Welcome to the show. It is Thursday Therapy Unplugged. Every Thursday, I'm going to do a show where we just talk everything Manchester United. What's been going on? There's a lot to talk about today. There's a lot for us to talk about. Essentially, it's a therapy session where I can't be the only person that loves Manchester United Football Club while at the same time knows that the club drives me insane. It's like a toxic relationship. It is. We shouldn't be together, but we are. I give you more than you give me. But it doesn't matter. I feel good. It's some sort of cult, religious cult supporting Manchester United or supporting any team, especially Manchester United over the last few years. More than a few years, 12 years. So Thursday evenings, we're gonna have our therapy session. Yeah, all of us. And we're gonna come together and talk about this. Whatever, whatever it is. Yeah, cultistic. We are grieving. All right, so anyway, Ten Hag. Let's go into it. Ten Hag. Is he staying? Is he going? What's in your doing? Who in your interviewing? What's going on with the review? Why is the review taking long? Now he's officially staying. Why is he officially staying? Listen, I'm pretty sure a lot of you had your opinions on this Ten Hag saga, on Ten Hag in general. I'm gonna tell you what my opinion was. And listen, I'm gonna respect everyone's point of view. Whether you wanted the manager to stay or whether you think it's best for him to leave, I'm pretty sure that you had your reasons, your rationale. And on this channel, we're gonna respect rationale as long as it's logical. Yeah. Me, first and foremost, managers who've performed better than him for Manchester United in a season have been let go. Famously, Louis van Gaal won an FA Cup and I think he finished sixth or something. I'm not quite sure, but definitely higher than eighth. And he was fired. So, just based on that logic, just the standards that have been kept at the club by the Glazers themselves, I believe he should have been let go. But just looking at the season as a whole, based on what I saw with what he had at his disposal, the things that I was seeing, the way that we were playing, the way that he was structuring us, the way that we were, the cohesiveness, the things that are in his control, for me, he just wasn't doing enough with. From playing football where he had a bit, playing football that resulted in Casemiro playing in midfield all by himself, a big hole up, big hole in the middle of the midfield, refusing to play with a double pivot, doing the whole Bruno and Mason Mount or whoever as very, very high eights and leaving a massive hole. That sort of thing that he was doing time and time again. The fact that he wasn't playing some of our best players. And listen, I could keep going on and on. For me, he showed me enough, yeah, to not believe in him anymore. To think, do you know what? We need a fresh start. We need a new direction. And after winning one game, because a lot of people would have agreed with me before that Man City FA Cup final. The loss against Crystal Palace, the performance against Coventry, so many games this season that we were outplayed. And I think we're probably outplayed in most of the games this season. Most of the games we were outplayed. Even Burnley came and bopped us off the park fully. And not all of these teams have better players than us. In fact, we have decent players. So a lot of teams with worse players than us played better football than us. And none of the people who want Ten Hag to stay are able to tell me why. That's the managers. That's the coaching. I wasn't one of those people who hated Louis van Gaal. I saw what Louis van Gaal was trying to do, and I was patient. But the Man United fans, we love our go and take a man on, go and take a man on, son. On all the, we don't like the saucy tiki taka football. We don't like that. We like the whole, stand up to your man and beat your man and cross the ball in, head the ball in. That's the kind of football that we like. The run around, try hard, slide tackle. It's we don't like the patient. It'd be very interesting to find out if the sort of patient Barcelona tiki taka football where we just pass the ball around for like 45 minutes before we score, if that will be accepted at Old Trafford, or would people just boo? It's because possession football, which is essentially what I'm talking about, I don't know why it's not appreciated in this country. Well, I kind of do have a thesis. I do kind of have thought of why, but I'm sidetracking anyway. So Ten Hag now, like he's just not that guy in the Champions League. He's not. He's just our performance in the Champions League, which is that I think we finished fourth, and then everyone's like, do you know what? Maybe it's time for this guy to go. He wins one match, and people who were Ten Hag out 1 second ago, all of a sudden are Ten Hag in. And I get it. The feeling of winning the FA Cup. I mean, winning the FA Cup is not a massive tournament anymore. It's just not. It isn't. Let's be real. Still, it's good when you win the Premier League and the FA Cup, but just winning the FA Cup by itself is almost like winning the car. Like it's not that great, but it's still. I mean, it's still an achievement. So let's not play it down. While at the same time, let's not play it up too much, right? So winning the FA Cup is an achievement, but it's still one game that he won. He's still this is still the worst Premier League season that we've ever had, and I just think that we can't just take one game into and just take and without taking. We can't see 100 games. Yeah, see a man fail in 99 games, succeed in one game, and then say and just forget about the 99 games. That's not like I don't understand how people are like this. It's not the way that my brain. It doesn't make any sense to me. So yeah, I just think this guy, based on what I've seen, had to go. And also, based on the fact that Ineos came and Ineos have their men. Every owner who takes over a club, right, and changes the structure of the club would eventually change the manager. That will happen. That will happen. So even though they're keeping him now, and we're going to talk about that, about them keeping him and why they're keeping him. But even though they're keeping him now, Ten Hag isn't their man. He isn't their man. The fact that Ten Hag's job was up for review, the fact that they were actively speaking to other managers, you don't do that if you already have your guy. You don't change everything and everybody in the structure and then keep the guy who was employed by the old people in the old structure. That doesn't, that's not how it usually works. It really isn't. So everything logic was pointing to Ten Hag leaving. The performance this season was pointing to Ten Hag leaving. Everything, anybody with critical thinking would tell you that Ten Hag was going to leave. Actively and openly talking to other managers, openly doing it. You don't do that if you want someone to stay. That doesn't make any sense. Like, so The people that there's lots of people that would ignore all of that and be like, "Oh, he's staying, he's staying." But your logical stance after seeing everything couldn't have been he's definitely staying because everything was showing you that wow, this they take if even if he does stay, they're still taking a piss in us a little bit. You know what I mean? So I'm very surprised that he's staying. Very surprised that he's staying based on everything that I've seen. I don't I don't think things are gonna get better. I don't think things are gonna get better. I really don't. I know a lot of you guys are very optimistic. And the optimism isn't where's it coming from? I don't really get the optimism because based on what you saw this season, we've got Hoyland who's not that good. We've got Garnacho that's being pushed. The media and the PR behind Garnacho is just so. I know he's young and everything, but he's just not that good either. And the way they're pushing this kid like he's the next Ronaldo is just too much. We have Anthony who just not doing anything. We have Amad Diallo, our best winger. We can't even get the game, get a game because our manager doesn't know how to play possession football. He wants to play this kick and run football. Bruno, who never really turns up in the big games, he's loved by everybody, but he is one of the most frustrating footballers. Like you have a squad that's going to be weaker this season because the likes of the Varane are not going to be there, and apparently Manchester United don't have a lot of money, so the situation is not going to be better next season. And listen, let me read one of we are grieving. Let me read some comments quickly. Interesting choice from Ineos. I'm surprised they are keeping him on. Maybe no one wanted the role under their conditions. Rumors are that they want a yes man and not someone that will challenge all the time. Yeah, I mean that's the next conversation to have because the talk of the town is that the reason, the real reason why Ten Hag is staying, because like I said, Ten Hag is not their guy. He just isn't. And Jim Radcliffe, right? One of my big concerns with Jim Radcliffe is that I thought he was going to be a Brexit man, a Brexit man. And what I mean by that is, one, he voted for Brexit, and two, he's going to believe in this whole xenophobic, only English players, and I want English players and young British players. He's going to do all of that crap because the way that he was speaking to us when he wanted to buy the club, right? The way that he was speaking to us and how he tried to win Old Trafford faithful over by saying about bringing pride back to Britain, all this Britain and how it should be owned by British. He was already doing that xenophobic crap already. So my fear was that this guy was going to Brexify. Like Ollie tried to do it a little bit, but Jim Radcliffe was going to fully do it because he voted for Brexit. And you know, Wilcox and Dan Ashworth, I'm pretty sure these guys are from the UK as well. So I was a bit concerned. So when I first heard the Southgate talks, I wasn't dismissing them like a lot of people are dismissing these things. I thought, you know what? I hope not. I have a feeling it could be true, but I hope not. And the reason why the Southgate rumors are important, yeah, is because Ten Hag is not their guy. And I don't think I don't think Ten Hag is gonna last long next season. He's not going to get another 400 million to just piss down the drain and buy Anthony and Mason Mount and all these ballers. He's not going to get that. He probably wants another 400 million. He's not going to get that. He needs to improve the players that he currently has, but he's not a manager that really improves players. He hasn't improved Garnacho at all. Garnacho's season was nobody had a good season this season. Kobe, even though he broke out this season and he scored good goals, like United didn't have a good season. Nobody really had a good season. You can argue Kobe as a youngster to himself had a good season because he'll go home saying, "Yeah, I played 20 games," but United played rubbish. You all played crap. So no one can really say they had a great season. Really, really, you know. So I don't know, man. It is what it is, but I just think that Ten Hag is not their guy. Ten Hag is not their guy, and the reason why they've kept him is because they couldn't afford the £10 million that they will have to pay him after firing him. They couldn't afford it. That's what the talk of the town was. They made their mind up all the way in May that they were going to get rid of him. Hence why they started having the conversations. Word was getting out. Regardless of what happened, even though it sounded like they were, deliberating and having a conversation about his future, I think they already made their mind up. But the talk of the town is, you know, that's what I've been hearing. It would have cost them 10 or so million. They don't have a big budget on players, and that would have eaten into their transfer budget. And they thought to themselves, do you know what? He's going to fire himself anyway. Why not just keep him for another year or whenever he underperforms? Get Gareth Southgate, because for the first time Gareth Southgate's been asked questions about England, and he's said this might be his last um, run at being England manager. So I wouldn't be surprised, yeah, if Southgate becomes Manchester United's next manager. And if that's the case, all you people that wanted Ten Hag to stay and wanting this to happen, it's going to be on you. It's going to be on your head. I'm telling you, because nobody in their right mind, right brain, left brain, right blue pill, red pill, nobody, yeah, in their right mind wants Gareth Southgate to manage anything. Not his own diary, nothing. So if we get Southgate, because of these Brexit men come together with their Brexit rings and their Brexit power, let's get Southgate. Then you guys are, yeah. The Ten Hag people, we need to do something. We need to ban you guys from watching football, because I believe this guy should have gone. And De Zerbi is the guy that I wanted. You know, I've seen De Zerbi. I believe, strongly believe, that after being tortured with watching some of the worst football that I've ever seen at Manchester United this year, it's worse. This is worse than Oli football, and we couldn't stand Oli football. It's worse than Mourinho football. This is some of the worst football I've seen, and I think after being tortured for this long, like 2 hours, an hour and 45 minutes, an hour and a half of just crap, I deserve to see some good football, and that's what I'm like. Do you know what? De Zerbi, De Zerbi, he will actually improve the players, because if De Zerbi's getting Brighton players to play like that, yeah, Brighton players, how can he? What can he do with even better players? What if you're making a 5-star meal out of hay that horses eat? Yeah, if you're making a 5-star meal out of that, yeah, imagine what you could do with flipping steak. Like, that's how you got to think of it. So at the end of the day, I wanted De Zerbi to do his thing at Manchester United, show people what you could do at a bigger stage. It hasn't happened. Apparently, United spoke to De Zerbi, spoke to Tuchel, didn't agree potentially on certain things, went their separate ways, and then decided, you know what, fuck, F it, let's just keep Ten Hag. But what, like, I know a lot of people say, listen, things will change because Ineos will be more directly involved in the structure of even management of the team. Like someone will be working a lot closely with Ten Hag, giving him a tighter framework and more direction. But I'm like, how is that? So why would it be better? Like, is Ten Hag going to agree to that? What's going to happen with the contract? Is what's going to be in the new contract? Because apparently there are stipulations in the original contract, the current contract, which gives him certain veto power over certain things. Ten Hag. So under the new regime, the Ineos regime, they're going to have, if Ten Hag is to stay, he's going to want to have a new contract, but they're going to have to offer him, obviously, under the new contract, under new terms. Is Ten Hag going to agree to these new terms, which are more restrictive? Definitely going to be more restrictive than the old terms. Because if not, he can just say, "I'll carry on for one more year under my old contract." What does that mean? What does that mean? Anyway, let's read some of your comments quickly. An ADHD autist. Imagine they really were trying to get Southgate. What does this mean? The thinking is. Listen, I wouldn't be surprised if they got Southgate. Like I said, I wouldn't be. Like, it's. I'm hoping not, because at the same time, he's brought in football people. So I'm hoping it isn't Southgate. But I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't put it. I just can't. Now that they've taken 3 weeks just to say, "Oh, we're going to keep him," it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Like, so I know that they probably changed their mind. I know they probably had to weigh something up. They had in their mind that they had to get rid of this manager. Something's happened, and I believe it's something financial, because it's all about money with these guys, right? Something financial has happened, and they've said, "You know what? We have to keep him." I'm just thinking, if you're Ten Hag and you know what they've been trying to pimp your job out, really. I guess it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, if you're Ten Hag, you're like, "Listen, I'm getting paid millions and millions of pounds. So yes, they try to get rid of me and all these things, but they're gonna keep me for a year, and I'm gonna make this work." And I'm gonna. Ten Hag comes across like a stubborn guy. Like, he's probably somebody who's like, "I'm gonna turn it around. Sorry, whatever they ask me to do, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna play this kind of football." Because remember, he just gave up on a certain type of football and said, "You know what? We're gonna be the best transition team in the world." And from then on, he lost me, because he kept making the same mistakes, playing the same. Listen, we had Amrabat and Casemiro for a whole season, and we never really saw them playing in midfield together. Imagine, and we kept saying, imagine Amrabat and Casemiro double pivot. No one's scoring past us. It's not happening. And he had so much time. This manager had to shore up the midfield, do something about the midfield. I didn't believe Casemiro lost his legs in 3 months. He went from the end of May, yeah, the end of May 2023, winning the Carling Cup and being probably our player of the season, to the beginning of August, like what, 2 months or something, 3 months, whatever. Yeah, don't count me on that. Being our worst player, and what that happened in 3 months' time. Like, people don't use their brains. He hasn't changed as a footballer. All that's happened is that the system has changed. The system has changed. It's not compact anymore. We're not playing a compact system anymore. We're playing this expanded system where everyone's playing on the center circle, and the midfield, the two eights, Mason Mount and Bruno at the time, were playing almost like up near the striker, and Casemiro was almost there with two defenders, and he was getting flipping. The midfield was getting run through time and time again. And Ten Hag was just looking at it. You can't play that way in the Premier League, Ten Hag. I said to everybody many, many times, listen, I'm gonna give this guy one more year because even the football that we were playing last year wasn't that good. And towards the end of last year, it became dire, really. And I said, you know what? I want to see what this guy's learnt from the Premier League, right, in his first year, and understand. I want to see what he thinks he needs or Man United need to get to the next step. What does he think after the first year? How's he assessed the Premier League? And now, what does he think we need? The guy goes and signs Mason Mount. I heard that Man United in 55 million for Mason Mount. Mason Mount has 1 year left on his contract, but United are still going to pay 55 million. I'm like, what the fuck? What is this? Like, so you've looked at the Premier League after the first year, and you think Mason Mount is what's going to be needed. Mason Mount is what we need to make us win the league. Mason Mount, he's the guy. I was like, okay, okay, this is gonna be this guy is not serious. I don't blame the Onana signing, but 72 million on Hoyland. The kid is not that. The kid is like, listen, the striker market is the worst market. There are no quality strikers out there in the world. I'm from the era, yeah, where we had Crespo, Henry, Van Nistelrooy, Vieri, Batistuta, whatever, Torres, David Villa, Raul, R9. Like, if you want to call Ronaldinho a striker, you can if you want. Like, Rivaldo, like, I can just, Shevchenko, Crespo. Oh, no, no Diddy. Like, all world class strikers. Like, you could argue Manchester United might not have had four world class strikers, but the four strikers we had: Sheringham, Solskjaer, York, and Cole. Four strikers, top tier. Like, any of those strikers, yeah, would walk into any Premier League team right now. Facts. The striker market in the world is abysmal. I feel sorry for if you're a striker. I feel sorry for you because they treat you as a donkey. Like, it's just not cool. You gotta do too much in football. Some of the times strikers could get away with not doing much at all, not doing much running, but just scoring goals. Now you got to press, and run around. You got to do a lot more. But that's just one reason. But the striker market is just so poor, so poor. But like Hoyland is just not good enough, and he might become an okay player. I'm not saying he's going to be a terrible player. He's not. He might become an okay player, but I don't think he's ever going to be the main striker. I think he lacks too many fundamentals. I hope he does. I hope he learns these fundamentals, and I hope he does become the main striker. But I just can't see it. So even Hoyland, that signing, I'm not really impressed. But with the 10 goals or whatever he scored, 14 goals. Is it 10? Only 10 goals actually. I think is it 10? Not sure, man. 10 to 14 goals. I'm not impressed with Anthony. Onana, yes and no. Some of the times he switches off and he makes mistakes, but other times he makes some good saves and he's really good with his feet. So it's with Onana, it's a give one, take one. So we're just equal. We're in equilibrium with Onana. So I'm just not really been impressed with his signings, and I just don't think I'm ready for a new start. Really, I'm ready for a fresh start. So I'm disappointed that we didn't get De Zerbi, and like I said, I wouldn't be surprised that it is Southgate. Ten Hag, I think he has more negatives, a lot more negatives that outweigh the positives. He's falling out with too many players that don't really fall out with managers, and he's managed to fall out with them. The way he's treated certain players, it's questionable. I don't really understand, and this is another therapy. I just need to get this, where the love and adulation for this manager has come from all of a sudden. It's like we saw all the matches. We saw the Coventry game, like I said, we saw the games where we were just so appalling. We witnessed them, we saw them. A lot of us wanted them out, and all of a sudden, because he won the FA Cup, like he, where is this love coming from when it comes to this guy? I just don't get it. I don't get it. It needs to be studied psychologically. It really does. This Ten Hag, because I'm like, I've got no attachment to this guy. I just want a better manager than him, and I think we can get a better, definitely a better coach. We can. There is a better coach out there. There are better coaches who've done better with more, and we're gonna need a coach that does better. Sorry, better with less. We're gonna need a coach that does better with less because we're gonna have much less. We're gonna let go of Sancho and Greenwood. We're not gonna replace them with the same quality players. We're not. Casemiro's gonna go, and we're not gonna replace him with the same quality. Amrabat is probably gonna return. Varane, arguably our best defender. Okay, our best defender. He's gonna go, and we're not gonna replace him. So we need someone who can coach. And Ten Hag is not a coach like that, and that's probably why I'm so annoyed because I just can't see him as somebody that's going to be here longer term. I don't think the Ineos are going to keep him. I think this for me. Do you know what? Don't be surprised if there's another twist in the story as well. Don't be surprised if there's another twist in the story, guys. Yeah, don't be surprised if contract talks break down or something. I don't know. Maybe wishful thinking, but this whole thing was odd. And like I said, I don't really trust. I never really trusted Ineos. I wanted the Qataris. I don't understand why. I'm never gonna really like or love anybody. Well, I'm I'm gonna struggle to back somebody or anybody that wants to get into bed with the Glazers, which is what Ineos said. Ineos said we want to keep, and Ineos know how much United fans hate the Glazers, right? Ineos said we want to keep the Glazers and work with the Glazers and only buy 25% and etc. etc. While the Qataris are like, we want to get rid of these clowns. We want to invest in the stadium, build a new stadium, new facilities, new. And Jim Radcliffe came with the whole Brexit, only British people and British club and bring the British. I don't know. He came with some Brexit talk that got everyone up north probably excited. And somehow, the Qataris took his money. I didn't want Ineos. I wanted I wanted new. I wanted brand new. That's what I wanted. But it is what it is. So I've always looked at Ineos with a side eye, with a let's just see what they're doing. Let's not. They can talk the talk, but you have to walk the walk. So let's see how they walk. Let's see if did they walk straight? Do they walk with a limp? Let's see what go on in it. And they've done some good things. We restructured the club, did things that a lot of people have been wanting, a lot of people have been asking for, like get a technical director, get a director of football, and all these things. Get football men in charge. He's done that, but this decision here, yeah, I think knowing or if it's true that it's more of a financial thing and they ain't got the money to sack him, but they really wanted to sack him, I feel a little better because I do believe sacking him was still is the best thing to do. So yeah. Anyway, any questions in the chat? First show, first therapy session. Listen, you all Man United, Manchester United, all well, they get listen, I can't even speak. The club, the football club gets us all vexed. So Thursday we're gonna come back here and we're gonna have another session. What do you think of the restructuring? Yeah, yeah. That's Soulful Curl. What do you think of the restructuring? I don't mind the restructuring. Like I said, we needed a better structure, and we needed football people in charge. But I think with these guys now in charge, and these guys all now one unit, they're gonna get another yes man, and that's why I think Southgate is gonna be the guy. That's the only problem, and I don't think United have too much money, so they're gonna be cutting a lot of costs. I mean, they've already started cutting costs dramatically. So I think that all ties up. Don't forget tea ladies, dinner ladies, all these people, they're losing their jobs as well. So that's the picture I'm painting. And the picture I'm painting is all the high wages, high earners have to have been asked to go. Kobe Manu's is gonna get a new contract, and it's not gonna be like 100 grand. It's gonna be like 60 or something. Like they're not on paying high wages. They're getting rid of a lot of people. A lot of people. They're cutting a lot of costs. They don't want to get rid of the manager, apparently because of how much they need to pay him if they do. There's a lot of cost cutting by Ineos, and that leads me to believe that we don't have a lot of money, Manchester United, and also leads me to believe that when because of that, we're clearly not going to get many signings, which also leads me to believe that the future of Manchester United is probably young players, the youth, cheap players. Hence why we're probably going to really be using a DOF and technical directors and scouts. We're going to be, you know, hence why you need someone who's not Ten Hag, who's a more of a manager. Even though I think his man management, to be a good manager, you have to have good man management. And the way he's falling out with so many players, I don't even think he's that of a good of a manager. But I think they're looking for a yes man, someone who they can control fully, and someone who, well, they regard it as a good coach, and it might be Southgate. Don't shoot the messenger, destroy the message. No, I'm joking. Anyway, guys, thoughts on Greenwood. It's a shame that he did what he did, you know, because he shouldn't have done what he did. Like, forget the fact that it was recorded and she showed the recording. He did what he did first. She recorded it. Then, so you shouldn't be doing that, man. Don't be. But at the same time, it's also a shame that we can't. Cause once someone said sorry and the person and they're forgiven and all of these things, at the same time, they should be able to redeem themselves. They should be able to, because like what he did isn't he didn't kill a baby. So, like, I'm not trying to condone what he did. By the way, he shouldn't have done what he did. End of story. But if the person has now got his baby and they're getting married, and she's like, "Listen, leave him leave him alone." Then what are we doing here? It doesn't make. It's like a witch hunt, just to satisfy our own. I don't know, bloodlust. In terms of that aside, but in terms of his football and where he's going, I believe Juventus are interested in Greenwood, and I believe that just go. It's a shame. Like, listen, when Greenwood first came on the scene, I said to everybody, all the guys, that this kid is going to win the Ballon d'Or in the next 4 years. He was like, I've not seen a striker so good with both feet, strike the ball so cleanly. Like he reminds me of Van Persie so much, and it's just a shame that his career has ended up this way. But he still can have a good career if he goes to Juventus. Apparently, Juventus are after Sancho as well. Imagine if they both go to Juventus and they ball out. Listen, I just want and nothing bad for these two. I want everything good for those two. Those two mixed race young men that have both been through some things, right? and both being chewed up and spat out by the football club. I I just want them to just go on and continue playing their football, both of them. I don't wish anything negative on them. I know they've made mistakes. I think they pay for their mistakes, and so let's let them play football. That's what I think. Orhan in the house. Ten Hag. No, Ten Hag is staying. It's not my wish, but what can I do? I'm gonna have to watch games, Manchester United games, very numb. I'm not gonna be too emotional. I pray that the manager proves me wrong, transforms the way he plays, transforms the way he thinks about football, plays football in a very eye appealing way. We start winning games. I pray all of these things happen, but I just don't see it. I really don't see it. And Orhan is saying, I don't think Greenwood is going back to United. United is going to be like Tottenham. United is going to be like Tottenham. Yeah, yeah. I agree. I don't think Greenwood is coming back to United. I mean, I would bring him back to Manchester United. I would personally, but I understand why you wouldn't because the PR around him, yeah, it's going to be crazy. The marketing, like it's on. You can't forget what happened. You can't forget, and that's the problem. But so I get why he's not going to come back, but I will take him back. Um, I don't see United, like I said, getting better. I see Tottenham improving. I don't think United once again have a lot of money. So United being like Tottenham, mid-table team. Listen, I agree. We finished eighth last season. Emery's is gonna hopefully have Aston Villa still playing the same football. Chelsea should get better. Liverpool will improve. Arsenal will probably win the league. Man City will be there and thereabouts. Tottenham, I don't see getting worse. So yeah, Manchester. If I'm gonna predict the season, if I'm gonna predict the season, unless Ten Hag does something that I don't expect him to do, that I haven't seen him do, and yeah, I expect us to finish around the same kind of position next year or next season. I really do. I really do. We've lost Martial, even though Martial didn't play that much. It's a shame because Martial was one of my favorite players. When he played, he was so good, but he got so much hate. I didn't really understand why he got so much hatred. He didn't do anything to anybody. Yes, he was injured, but he's not more injured than Luke Shaw is. Luke Shaw's missed much, much more games through injury than Anthony Martial has ever missed. And whenever Anthony Martial's on the field, whether it was the first 3 or 4 years on the left wing, where he played well, then Sanchez came, and then whether it was up front playing football for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, remember that? Yeah, with him, Mason Greenwood, and Rashford. That season, he balled out 19 goals, I think, in about, was it like 18 goals and like 15 assists or something? Like, he balled out and he facilitated for those two. Like, when he plays well, he plays well. Even when Ten Hag first came, he said Anthony Martial was the first name on the team sheet. When he's fit, he plays well, but he does get injured. And I think, I'm like, why do people give him so much hate for being injured? He's like, oh, he's never fit. I hate Anthony Martial. Why do you hate him? Because he's never fit. I'm like, that's not a reason to hate him. If he's not fit, he's not fit. That's his body. Like, you never hear anybody say, I hate Luke Shaw because he's never fit. Or I hate Phil Jones because Phil Jones is always injured. I hate him for it. You never hear that. You never hear that because it's a weird thing to hate somebody for. It's a weird thing to hate somebody for. So, but you hear that I hate Martial because he's never fit for me. I'm like, bro, that's not okay. But he's never fit. But when he is fit, how does he play for United usually? He plays well. He drops deep, holds the ball up, bring others into play. Like he facilitates, he plays well for Man United when he plays. So it's just interesting how some rhetoric sticks with some players. Some things are said for against or about certain players, and they're not held true, right? And when you're just logically seeing the same another player do the same thing but not held to the same account or not held to the same standard, then what is it? I don't know. You tell me. But it is what it is, guys. We're not in a tandem there, but I just had to say what I had to say. You know, this is the therapy session where we just unload, have a conversation about the times ahead. Every Thursday, we're also going to be, hopefully, when pre-season starts, showing some pre-season streaming, some pre-season games. When the Euros start, we'll also be watching some Euro games. I believe we will be watching the game tomorrow. I think it's Germany, Scotland. I might be wrong. I might be wrong. But I think Germany are playing tomorrow, and we will probably be watching that on this channel, guys. So there you go, man. My therapy session is done. It's done. I don't think people who wanted Ten Hag to stay should be celebrating too much, because we all support the same club and we all want the club to be successful. So you want Ten Hag because you think that's the best way for United to win the league and be successful, and we want Ten Hag out. A lot of us, because we think that's the best way to go forward in order for us to win the league and be successful. We want the same things, so we shouldn't really be arguing really with each other too much. But just be careful what you wish for. That's all I'm gonna say. Be careful what you wish for, because if Gareth cometh, we're all screwed. Hmm. And that's all, in the famous words of Forrest Gump. That's all I'm gonna say about that. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Anyway, next Thursday we are back, same time, to get our therapy, to get our football therapy, to get some shit off our chest. Yeah, we're gonna be back here next Thursday. All right, guys.